Alright guys, welcome back. This is the Vanquish series, the build series. This is part 7. We're going to work on the links, putting the links together on the chassis and putting the axles on it. So I've already gone ahead and went through all of, let's try it this way. I've already went through all of the link sizes and matched up all the links onto here. As you can see, you just kind of hold it and it's to scale. So I have laid them out here. This is the front of the vehicle, this is the rear. We got the rear lowers, rear uppers, front lowers, the single front upper, the pan hard, the drag link, and the tie rod. I don't really know what you call it. Yeah, they still call it the tie rod. So let's go ahead and start putting this thing together. We've already got all the links assembled, shocks. I've got some fenders back here kind of off screen. Got all the screws from the packet. Let's get it put together. So I'm gonna shift this around as it looks on the drawing, just so I don't get mixed up. It's looking like front is over here, and we've got this front hole here for the front link, front upper, and that gets a M3 by 20. And that one is, what, this one? Yes, M3 by 20. So we're just going to, I don't know, see if I can get this to zoom in. Where are we at here? So it just kind of slides down into the hole. It's kind of a pain sometimes, the plastics and everything. So we'll slide that down into the hole like that. Then we're coming through this front hole on the, oh shit, on the slider. Let's see if that worked. Get the 2.5. Run the screw into it. I found my 2.5 from my handheld. Give it a little torque. Okay. Alright, so that is the front upper per plan. And now we're going with the front lowers. And they are actually going to go into these lower spots here on either side of the transmission skid. And you've got holes here and here for the screws to hold those links into place. So we will go with the front lowers, and that takes a M3 by 20 mil screw, which again is this pile I've got in front of me. I'll run these bad boys in. Looks like you can't just push them, straight push them through. I'm going to zoom back out because I keep going out of the frame. Alright, and then we've got the next one, which I guess, I don't know, you can if you finesse it right. Alright, run those in, give it the last hand tighten. Sorry if the camera starts shaking, sometimes this table's a little wobbly. Alright, so that's the front upper and the front lowers. And then we've got the pan hard link coming in next, which is going to be this guy. And we need a M3 by 16, which is this one. Nope, it's going to be this shorter one. And this pan hard will go directly into this link, and it wants the screw from the front to the back. And that's a pass through, and it comes with some little nylock nuts. that threaded. And we'll flip over to the 2mm. Good job, guys. So we're gonna make our life a little bit easier. I'm gonna pull this panhard link off of here because the way that this chassis bumps down, I can't really get the tool down in there. And then I'm just gonna use a pair of pliers to tighten this down. Now you don't need Loctite on nylock nuts. It doesn't have to be ungodly tight, it is small. And get this screwed back in. Alright, then the next step after that is, it looks like we're going to throw the front axle on it now. So I'm going to set this aside. And we're going to grab the front axle and the tie rod. The tie rod and the drag link, we're going to go on the right side of the axle. And we need the M3 by 25mm, which is going to be this longer one with the soft shoulder, I believe. Maybe not. It's one of these guys. No. It's got to be this one. Oh yeah, it is. Alright, so what I like to do is just run the screw through here. It helps. And we'll slide it down to the top of the knuckle. Get it tightened down. Torque it by hand. Alright, and then over here we're using the M3 by 16, which is not that one. I guess this shorter one. Nope, it's not that one either. Those are all the same size. Ah, there's the smaller one. 3 by 16, perfect. Alright, so then you bring this over. Give this one a tighten. Do it by hand. Alright, so there you've got the front tie rod and the drag link that hooks to the steering servo. That turns your wheels. See if I can get the light better. There you go. Alright, and then it looks like we're putting these shocks onto the axle. So we're going to lean this forwards. And on the lower shock, you've got the thicker spaced out end and the not spaced out end. And that thicker spacer goes to the outside, facing the wheel. Slide that down into place. And we are using the M3 by 20, which I believe is this one. Nope, it's this one. Okay, so there's 4 of these M3 by 20s, and that is a 2mm. Where's my 2 at? There it is. Turn the wheel the opposite way. Get this screw to slide down in through here. And then we'll give it a tighten. We'll do the same on the other side with another shock. And the big side again goes on the outside. Turn the wheel the other way. Slide that down in. Give it a tighten. Snug it by hand. On both sides. Alright, now we need the chassis back. And we need the 40mm drive shaft spacer, which is this guy. And again, on the instruction booklet, it gives you scale size piece. You just kind of hold it up. See if I can do this where y'all can see it. Hold it up and it's the right size. So the front drive shaft, I'm going to slide that into it. And the instructions are showing it the other way, but I like to assemble them upside down. It's a little bit easier till you get to the pan hard bar. So I'm going to come in, put the drive shaft sleeve in, kind of finesse the shocks to where you can get the axle to lay down how you need it, and try not to pull this sleeve out. They're kind of a pain in the butt once you get the links connected. And then we need 3 of the M3x16s, which are these shorter ones. Yep. 1, 2, 3. Alright. And then you just gotta bring the lower link into the cup. And the cup, I don't know if you call it a cup or what, but where it screws in. And then get the hole lined up, slide the screw through it. I'll do the same to the other side before I go tightening it down. Slide it in there, wiggle the screw in, come in and screw it in. Same on the other side. I don't know why this doesn't like to come back out of the hole, but okay, so we got the lower links in. Now we're looking at the upper link, which is going to go, might be easier to do flipped over. Let's see. Set this off this way. I don't know if you can see this or not, but the upper link goes on the passenger side. Right there. I'll pick it up in a second. Okay, so right here on the right side of the axle is where the upper link is going to go. And then flip over to the next page. It shows us installing the drag link to the servo, but I don't have the servo in it yet. We're going to do that in a little bit. Is it telling me to put the pan hard in, or do I just know that? It's like it skipped a whole step. I don't know. Where do you want me to put the shocks in it? Ah, there we go. I skipped a step myself. Alright, so the pan hard will go where? There's a screw right here at the end of the knuckle, or a hole right here for the pan hard. And that screw is going to be M3 by 12, which should be this little short one. Yep. And it should just screw right to the face of it, which I'll show you here in a second. Alright, so the pan hard just goes right here, right by the edge of the knuckle. I don't know if you can see that, it's hard to tell. Right here. Alright, and then we are looking at the M3 by 20 millimeters for the shocks, which are these guys. And we get this shock screwed in. What did that come from the back? Yeah. So we get the shock in here. Just kind of lift up on the chassis so that once you get the shock set in here, it doesn't slip back out like that. So we'll start this screw. Take some artwork with your fingers to try to get it held in there. Alright, we'll do the same to the other side. When I do builds that aren't on the bench with the camera, sometimes I'll hold it on my stomach and try to move things around. But just like that, you've got a assembled front end with the working shocks. So now, I can get these wires out of here. Drag those through there. Okay. Next step is the rear. So we're going to flip it back over, and we're going in with the rear lowers. Or are these the uppers? No, these are the uppers. So going with the rear uppers in here, and we're going with these M3 by 20 screws again. So just like the front, I'm going to put these rears all together. It's a little tough when the plastic is tight like that to get that pillow ball to slide down in there, but just got to use a little bit of extra force. Don't be afraid. Plastic gives, metal doesn't. Alright, so we got the uppers in. Now we're going for the lowers. Next page. And the lower links are the same, M3 by 20s. So they're just like the fronts. You got right here on the inner part of the skid. Alright, so now we've got the upper and lower rears in. Set this off to the side again. And we're going to grab the rear axle. Come in with the shocks. I'll try to do it this way, see if y'all can still see it. So we're going in with the shock screws and the shocks. And again, you've got the thicker part, which will sit facing towards the outside of the vehicle. Slide that one in. Slide that one in. Okay. Next, once the 50 millimeter, which is this one, bring the chassis back in, try to flip these arms up out of the way, and we're going to slide this into the rear shaft, flip this axle upside down, slide the shaft in again, roll these axles, or the shocks out of the way, bring it a little closer. And then we are going with the shorter screws, 16 millimeters, and these are going for the lower links. Alright, that's the rear lower links installed. And then you've got the upper links, which might be easier to flip this way. It's not going to be easier for you to see it. Maybe... Oh, you can't see it. I can, but you can't. Alright, let's see. We'll do it upside down. Them to drop below the axle, and then if I understand that fell out, but you've got a longer screw here, which is a 35 millimeter, and it will run from end to end all the way through here, capturing both links. Figure out which way it slides, and then you've got a nylock nut that you'll screw onto the outside. So we're going to try to do this upside down. Might work for me, it might not. I might just have to put it together and show you, which is what I'm going to have to do. I can tell you that right now. the upper ones or the lower ones. It doesn't. We're going for the upper ones. That's what I did on my last one. Always helps roll that axle. Okay, so we've got both screws, or the one screw through there on the upper holes with the links, and now we will get the nut on it. I've pulled the drive shaft out again. I'm just going to do this one by hand. Tighten down this screw with the nylock nut. Goodness. Alright, so we got that tightened down. Drive shaft slid out again. Picking it up and pivoting it around, which won't happen once the shocks are installed. So it takes a little bit of finessing to slide it back into the hole. Flip it back down, flip it over now. And we've got the 20mm boys that go into the shocks. And these are coming from the back. Alright, and just like that, you now have a VS4-10 slider. All the shocks are in, axles are in, links are in. If you notice, I took this front shock off. It's the little things that count, little details, so I went ahead and made sure that the bleeder screw was facing the outside, give that extra little scale look. So that's the axles and the shocks and links installed onto the slider now. So that finishes out part 7. Keep following along. We'll get the next few steps, which look like to be some of the other slider parts and the fenders and getting ready for the body to get put on. And we'll also install the servo into it next. So thanks for watching, guys.